John Gillmore
on BBC Radio Lancashire.
Mark Khan walking in Memphis on BBC Radio Lancashire. Well, we're in the final stages of football's biggest event, the World Cup, being held this time, of course, in Brazil. And we thought, why not bring a South American flavour to the programme this Monday afternoon by taking a look back at the World Cup so far with a local lady who was born in Brazil. Paula Hardman is a blogger, book reviewer and social media addict who now lives in the Ribble Valley. She's with me in the studio this afternoon. We last chatted at the start of the World Cup, but just remind us, Paula, what's a native Brazilian doing in the Ribble Valley? What first brought you to the UK and to Lancashire in particular?
Hi, Gil. Nice to come back. Gosh, that's a long story. I came to London originally to study and basically to study and to take my degree, and then I moved into the Ribble Valley once I had my little girl. Her dad is from the area, and at the time we're still together, so we were, his family's around here, and I wanted to have grandparents and cousins and things, so I moved to Lancashire.
And how long have you been in Lancashire?
Oh God, a good part of 11 years or so, and didn't make it back down south.
I imagine the two countries are hugely different, you know, the scenery, climate, people, food, but in your experience, I mean, have you found Lancashire has any similarities with
Yeah,
Brazil?
Definitely. It is different, you know, where the people, scenery, yes, definitely. But the people in Lancashire are very friendly. You know, you can walk into a pub and you can talk to someone. You can make friends quite easily. They're always willing to, you know, chat and have a good banter. And that is more similar to home than London was. You know, the how approachable people up north is definitely something in common with Brazil, really.
And how easy was it to adjust to our British ways and weather, of course, after life in Brazil?
You know, this is funny. You get used to the cold, and then when you have a little bit of heat, I mean, I come from a city where it's 30 degrees Celsius average, and now I get to a point where, you know, I get to 22. Oh my God, it's too hot. I've resumed to complain about the weather like the British, you know, like a real British person is.
Just describe where you are from, because Brazil, of course, is a huge country.
It is massive. I am born in the middle. For you to have an idea, if I was to go home today, I would probably land in São Paulo, where one of the host cities. No, actually, it's Rio, isn't it? But I would land in São Paulo, which is the biggest international airport, and it would take me an hour and a half to fly to where I'm from originally, to inland into the centre of the country. I mean, if you put it into perspective, an hour and a half from here takes you to France. You know, in Brazil, it only takes you to another state. So it is massive, and I am from the middle of the country, right in the centre region.
So just tell us a little bit about growing up there then, and what was it like? And are you from a big family?
Oh God, massive. My mum is one of 10. I am one of 40 cousins, so you can imagine it was a little bit of anarchy going on there. I love Brazilian culture. You know, I'm biased obviously, but we are very family orientated, a little bit like the Italians, you know, and we like our children come everywhere. We have big family gatherings, big barbecues. Usually Sunday is a good excuse for a barbie, you know, and getting friends around the table. So it's a very social culture, put it that way, but social in a good, healthy way. You know, we like our sports, we like our food, we like music, dancing, so it's good.
What about food then on that barbecue? What would you be having?
It's steak. It's steak. Brazilians are big beef eaters. You know, we produce a lot of the beef in the world, and we do like our steak a lot, as well as fish. I mean, on the coastal areas you get a lot of fish and things like this, but we tend to like our red meat. Yeah.
And where you live? I mean, where would you holiday? Where would the holiday resorts be?
Be around. It depends of how far you want to travel. You know, so if I really wanted to go far and go to the coast, we would go northeast. So you know where the Fortaleza, where one of the host cities. Around that area, around that coast, that's where usually the Brazilians go on holiday if they want to travel a little further. If I wanted to stay within my state, we would go by the rivers. The rivers in Brazil, I mean, as Rio Negro near the Manaus Stadium is, I think, is 5 kilometers, 9 kilometers wide, and it's like 900 meters inland from the sea. So you can gauge how big our rivers are, and they have like sandy beaches and things like this. So we jet ski and do all that in the rivers.
We'll come back with chat some more. We'll talk about the World Cup, Brazil against Germany tomorrow evening. It's 1:45. Let's get the latest on the roads. Book reviewer and social media addict. Now lives in the Ribble Valley, born in Brazil. We're talking about Brazil. We're talking about book reviewing as well, because you're reviewing a couple of books at the moment.
Yeah.
First off, I think is the Jonas Trust
Deception. Yeah, by an author. Is an indie author called A.F. Clarke. And this is the second book of a series of thrillers. So it's a conspiracy, and he was a secret agent, so part of the government, military, and all this kind of stuff. So it's really interesting book, really sort of action filled. This one that the guys would definitely like.
Yeah, I was going to say, who will that appeal to mostly? Is it the?
I think blokes and anybody that is into action, really action driven kind of books. They are currently trying. I'm halfway through this book now, and they're currently trying to unravel this conspiracy. They don't know quite who's behind it, and people are coming to kill them and this kind of stuff. They obviously know too much, even though they think they don't know enough. So it's very interesting.
Got to be a bit of romance in there.
There is, yeah. He has a partner in crime. He's the second book of the series. So at this point, he is in a relationship with a girl who, in the first book, lost her hearing, and it's quite interesting that despite having she can hear little things if everything's quiet. She had one of those, I don't know quite how it's called, I can't remember the name of the condition, but it's when your bone, a little bone in your ear collapses and you lose your hearing. So she suffers with that, but it is interesting that despite the fact that she has a disability per se, she's still quite capable of holding her own in the book. So it's quite interesting.
Sounds exciting. Also, as well, I think you've just come out of being a translator, haven't you?
I studied linguistics at UCLan in Preston, and I did translation while I was at university. But now that I'm sort of graduating, I'm looking into moving into social media and blogging and PR, which is the thing that I love, and the thing I'd like to do as a career, really.
What's the attraction, do you think, of social media, Twitter, Facebook, that sort of thing?
It's funny. I've been looking into it, coming out of uni. Is a massive thing at the moment. Forbes last year forecasted that by 2014 businesses would realize that social media is massive in terms of marketing and advertising. As business moves more into being a social enterprises, social media and engaging, so it's just a way of engaging with your final client, so it has become a very important thing. But if you don't manage it properly, you get the fiascos you got this week. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Twitter this week is just full of fiascos. The World Cup has sparked so much controversy on Twitter, with businesses tweeting the wrong thing or the wrong images. And
you do have to be careful, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, you understand that because you have your own Twitter account and you know what it's like. There's certain things you just need to be very aware of. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the World Cup, of course. The host nation, Brazil, still in it. The semi-final tomorrow against Germany.
Thank God for that.
And without their star player, Neymar, though.
Absolutely. I mean, that was nasty. The Brazilian Football Federation is at the moment on top of FIFA to get some punishment to, I think it's called Zunica, isn't it, the Colombian player who needs Neymar in the back, quite a vicious kind of thing.
And the captain as well on another yellow card. He'll miss tomorrow's game. Thiago
Silva, which is another thing the Brazilian team is sort of trying to get off the record and trying to get him on the pitch. They sort of arguing against.
Now then, Brazil against Germany.
Oh God, yeah. I'm gonna have a heart attack by the time we reach half time.
I can tell you, my producer Gary Scott is still in the sweep. He still has Germany, so he'll be rooting for them, unfortunately, tomorrow.
Shame on you,
Paula. But how do you see it going? I mean, you're obviously well into football, aren't you? And watching it.
Yeah, he helps that I've got friends, and my man in particular is quite into football, but I don't know. I think it'll be a tough game. I think it'll be an interesting game to watch. As obviously as you approach the final, the teams get more and more vicious. Holland is one that is becoming really sort of hard to tackle. So it will be an interesting game. I think my heart will be in my throat for most of it, though.
Well, there we are. Thanks very much indeed, as ever, for joining us this afternoon.